I'm Professor Stephen Engel in the Politics Department, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in this video about the tools that you can use to explore the Bates curriculum.
So there are a few of your resources that are listed up on this slide. The first is the Bates orientation page, particularly everything that's located under academics in the first year. Then there is the general education page, the recommended entry course page, and always remember you can speak with your academic advisor, who is your first year seminar instructor. So let's start by going to that orientation page. So we're now at www.bates.edu/orientation. And as I just said, there's this tab up here that is academics in the first year, which offers you a bunch of resources. But I want to draw your attention first to the general education program page. So the general education program for the class of 2023 and beyond, so for this will also include your class of 2024, is made up of three major components: the major plus one, 3 writing attentive courses or units, and the 5 modes of inquiry courses. So the major plus one refers to the idea that every Bates student has to have a major declared, usually by March of their sophomore year, and then a second area of study in addition to the major that can either be a general education concentration, a minor, or a second major. The general education concentrations, or GECs, are usually 4 courses, and they can be of 2 different types. One is a concentration within a single discipline, and the other is an area that's an inquiry-driven focus that is usually multidisciplinary. So, for example, one GEC is Law and Society Studies, and that brings together different courses that take up questions of law, but that may be housed in history, politics, sociology, etc. So they're problem-driven concentrations that bring together a whole range of different types of courses. Then you'll see that there are 3 writing attentive courses, and your FYS is your W1. And then you complete the Ws through the W2, which is usually in your major, and the W3, which is your capstone or thesis. And then this last part is very important. These are the modes of inquiry. And there are 5 modes of inquiry. And so basically what you want to pay attention to here is that we've got analysis and critique, and you'll see this acronym AC, Creative Process and Production, or CP, Historical and Social Inquiry, HS, Scientific Reasoning, SR, and Quantitative and Formal Reasoning, QF. So you'll see that in the Bates catalog, the courses are tagged with 1 or 2 of these tags. And what that means is that if you take that course, it can count for this requirement. So let's go back and figure out how you would explore the courses and what would count for these different modes of inquiry requirements. So now we're back at the Bates orientation site, and here you'll see another page called Recommended Entry Courses. So what you see on this page are all of the different areas of academic inquiry at Bates: Africana, American Cultural Studies, anthropology, and so on. And so let's go first to my Department of Politics as an example, and then we'll walk you through some other examples. So if you clicked on Politics, you'll see that what we've done is that we've given you a brief description of what politics is. Then we've given you a list of recommended entry courses. So in politics, they're all at the 100 level. And this code here for gender, power, and politics, you'll note is GSPT as opposed to the others, which are PLTC. And the GSPT means that this course is cross-listed with gender and sexuality studies, and so will count both towards a gender and sexuality studies major as well as a politics major. You'll also note that under this title is that we have listed the course and the mode of inquiry tag. So if you take Politics 115, this counts towards historical and social inquiry. Now, if you look at Politics 191, Western Political Theory, you'll see 2 tags. So this could count towards your analysis and critique requirement or towards your historical and social inquiry requirement. But it can only count towards one. So you would take it and it would count towards historical and social inquiry. If you've already taken a course that has counted towards that, it would then count towards analysis and critique. And then the last item in this description of politics is the link to the department website. So if you click on it, you'll see that it'll bring you to the politics website. You'll have a fuller description of what politics is, and then you'll see across the top a bunch of tabs. You can see if you click on academics and you go to courses, you'll see all of the courses with all of their descriptions in the politics curriculum. And it will also list the usual professors who teach that curriculum or that course as well. If we go back, you'll see another important thing is a description of the major with information on declaring the major and requirements in the major. You can also see that there's a list of faculty, and you can click on each name to see more information about that particular faculty member. So we're now back at the orientation page, and I'm going to bring you back to the to the recommended entry course page. Okay, so let's take a look at another area of study. Let's pick biology. So we'll click on biology here. That will open this box. If we scroll down, you'll see 3 recommended entry points for this area of study: Bio 195, Chem 107, and Chem 108. And you'll note here that the biology department has listed out that Chem 107, which is offered in the fall of the first year, is really important to take before you can access sophomore level biology courses. So if you're thinking about a bio major, it's really important to recognize that you want to take Chem 107 and Chem 108 during the first year. And then scrolling a little bit further down, you'll see that Chem 107 counts both towards the quantitative and formal reasoning requirements of the mode of inquiry or towards the scientific reasoning requirement of the modes of inquiry. An important thing is that even though this course counts for 2 modes of inquiry, a given student can only apply it towards one of those requirements. So you can't double dip. One course can't fulfill 2 requirements, but you don't have to necessarily indicate which requirement it would be fulfilling. The registrar does that at their end. So let's take a look. This third element here is the link to the department or program. So we click on that. That brings us to biology. You'll see that all of the courses basically have the same structure. All of the academic units have the same structure across the top. So information on the academics. Here you'll see a list of the instructors, and you can click on each instructor's individual website and so on. So as I said, each academic unit, department, or program is linked into that general recommended entry course page. So let's go back there. So now we're back at recommended entry courses, which you'll remember is at the orientation website. And let's take a look at one more area of study. Let's scroll down. We'll take a look at rhetoric, film, and screen studies. So again, we click on that. We see recommended courses as the entry point. For example, RFSS 100. What is rhetoric? If you scroll a little bit further down, you'll see that RFSS 100 is noted for both analysis and critique, AC, as well as historical and social inquiry, HS. Now, for example, if you in your first semester took Politics 115, which you'll remember was tagged as HS, and RFS 100, the RFS 100 would then be tagged as AC because you're already taking Politics 115, which is HS. And so in those 2 courses, you've already fulfilled 2 of your modes of inquiry. And then just as with the other information on other academic units, you have the link to the department or program. If you click on it, you'll come to the rhetoric, film, and screen studies page, and that'll have more information on the academics, on the instructors, and so on. So I think that will close out this video. It's important to remember that these are just some of the resources that you can use to navigate the Bates curriculum. And once Arrival Day has happened, there will be some more Zoom-based activities. One of them is an open house with offices and academic units, and you can talk to faculty directly. That's scheduled for Friday, August 28th, and there'll be more information on that program on your Orientation Lyceum page.